Mez asked, I've fallen behind because I haven't been able to find a product that I feel like I can move forward with. How do you suggest I approach the bootcamp and or overcome this hurdle? One, I recommend you check out the bonus product research series. It's at the very bottom of the Freedom Builder Bootcamp coursework. There's some additional product research hacks that you can find in there. So that's one tip. Another tip I have for you is like some people, no matter how much kind of like training or help or coaching they get, like it's just like very nerve-wracking to kind of like actually pull the trigger on it and kind of like purchase that sale. And I get that, like it's a lot of money that you've saved up and you're not purchasing this product for it. But at some point you have to just realize that you can't get stuck with the analysis paralysis. You need to like pull the trigger on something. So if you get to that point, I recommend that like you just choose something that's kind of lower risk, which essentially just means that you're investing less money into it. And as a result, it's just lower risk. Like there's less downside and like you'll learn so much from that whole process. Let's see. Max said, is it okay to collect customer emails by writing on package insert something like register warranty our website? Yes, that's fine. Rob said, same here, Mez. I wonder how many of you all are in the same boat. Rob, do FBB members get more than 150 product trackers? Rob, if you email support@freedombuilderbootcamp.com and tell them that, and just write in your email that I said you could get more than 150 product tracks, then we can hook you up. Max asked, generally, is the kids' toys a good niche to enter in? Is there any limitations, like maybe some gated categories? So in here, I'm going to show you how, the question was as far as the toy niche and how you figure out whether or not you are gated for that is you go into inventory. You can do, actually here, just do add a product. And I'm adding a product not sold on Amazon. And then what happens is you said toys, so I can search for that. Let's see, certain kind of toy. So let's pretend it's a playset. So for that one, I was not gated. And let me actually show you this a little bit of a different way too. If I go into browse, let's see, where is the, try to see what section the toys category is under. 1 second. All right. It's just in toys and games. Oh, all the way to the bottom. All right, so if I click on toys and games, you can see I can click it right there. Whereas like this one, there's a lock, right? So I can click on toys and games. There's all these different types, but like you could be restricted from some of them, but not others. So let's like do this one, and none of those I'm restricted from because it's allowing me to select it. So I can select that category, okay? And yeah, that's all there is to it, because I can't give just like general advice for what you're gated for and what you aren't, because like depending on when you signed up for your account and like the rules changing all the time, it kind of changes, but that's how you can figure it out. Susan said, I'm trying to get my first samples from China, but with all the issues with the virus, everything's on hold. How much longer do you think they'll delay? A supplier says about the 10th now. Yeah, Susan, this is really frustrating. Obviously something outside of all of our control. I'm also having some just issues dealing with my factories because, they're away on Chinese New Year, and now a lot of them have kind of stayed in those particular areas instead of had the opportunity to go back to work. So unfortunately, I don't know how much longer of a delay it's going to be. I kind of like read the same news and have the same information that you have. You know, I'm frustrated with it just like you are, but unfortunately it's something that's outside of our control. Kathy said, if I'm selling the exact same product as someone else that is not trademarked, can I still apply for the brand registry and still try to get trademark? So I think you're mixing up a trademark with a patent, okay? So a trademark is intellectual property to claim a mark or like a brand name, okay? So the brand name Jungle Scout is trademarked, and that protects the company from other people claiming their Jungle Scout and trying to sell a similar service. That's different than a patent. A patent is intellectual property that protects the way something works or the way something's designed. So like this cup right here could have a patent on it. And if it's a utility patent, nothing else could be designed that has the same functionality. If it's a design patent, nothing else could be created that has the same design. So anything that's not patented, it's perfectly fine to sell the exact same thing as like everyone else out there. And as long as your brand is not trademarked, it's perfectly fine to trademark it. Rob said, message support, but I haven't gotten a response back. I don't know when you sent it, Rob. Response times are usually same day. From time to time, you know, sometimes it's much faster and you'll get a response within like 30 minutes. Other times they're kind of backed up and it takes a little bit longer. But you could either email them again, or else I'm sure they'll get back to you. Or if you want why I'm on the Facebook Live today, I can also check my Facebook messages if you want to just DM it to me. All right, Max said, can I do one trademark brand register and keep multiple different products with different logos and names under the same brand registry? Or do I need to do brand registry for every product? You have to do brand registry for each brand or each trademark. So if it's like when you said under different logos and names, I'm guessing by that you mean different brand names. As a result, there'd be different trademarks. But what I would recommend for you is to just use more of like a generic name and use that same brand name for all your different products. Daniel said, for kids products, I've found one. All competitors seem to have ASTM approval. Should I contact the manufacturers to already have license of ASTM, or should I contact a testing authority? If I have the same material, different design, should I get all approved based on design or same material one time? Will that be okay? Daniel, I would recommend you first ask the factory to see if they have already done that testing. If they have, you may not need to. If they have not, they're probably familiar with it and they might be able to help you. Alternatively, you might need to pay for it yourself through a testing service. Rob said, do you suggest to do the ERP, wait until we get 5 reviews and then start the Vine program? I recommend, no, you don't need to wait for to get reviews from Vine or wait to get reviews from ERP. You can just do both of them at the same time. That's what I'd recommend. Douglas said, warning label. I noticed many of my competitors have a warning to restrict play of a product for under age 14. However, I looked up Amazon's warning for kids for that kind of toy, and they only require a warning restriction for a much younger age. I'm thinking all my competitors just copied each other and never checked Amazon's requirements. Plus common sense says that age 14 is too old. Dots. Amazon, when you're filling out product listings so I don't know exactly, Douglas, where that was at, on the listing, but when you're filling out product listings and it might be a product for kids, they have a field that like you fill in of like what's like the minimum age. To be honest with you, I don't know for sure how they determine that you have to be like 3 or 5 or 8 years old or whatever to use those different toys. That's something I'm not familiar with. I'm sorry. Max asked, how do I find out if there's any kind of certifications required for my product to be listed on Amazon? There's no great central resource for this. The two best ways to do it is 1, check your competitors, and 2, ask testing companies like VTrust, or I always forget Asia Inspection's new brand name. What is this? Kima, this one, QIMA. I use them, or VTrust, this one. You can ask them. They're testing companies, and so they'll try to sell you on a bunch of tests, but you can say like which ones are an absolute requirement. Do you have any videos for negotiating with your suppliers? I include some information about that in the product sourcing and final product selection. If I were to give you some negotiating tips right now, like for one, I need to admit that I'm not the best negotiator. But like what I found is always really helpful is to get multiple quotes from multiple factories, and then you really know like kind of what the price range is. And then what you can do is it's like when you have multiple good factory options, it's easier to be more aggressive with the negotiations, because like you really can just like walk away and go to the other ones. Like that's like probably my biggest piece of advice. Yeah. Manish said, I'm a bit behind the process as we're still waiting for the sample and take things from there. Will there be enough support in this group after boot camp? Because I see other posts that there aren't many replies or comments from JS staff as it was in the beginning. Yes, Manish, we will. It may not be quite as active inside of the Freedom Builder Bootcamp Facebook group, but we're not going to leave you out to dry. Like we're all passionate about helping sellers. Like we want all of you to be successful. So yeah, we're not going to just leave you out to dry and not give you any help. Rob said, I have an email list, but they're in Canada. I'm selling on Amazon US. Will they be able to purchase my product? Also, is there an email template? I don't necessarily have an email template for you because I guess I don't know. Are you trying to get them to purchase your product? If so, I think you just, you talk about what's great about it and why they should purchase it. Maybe they give them a coupon or whatever else. There is the ability to turn on like global shipments. Let me try to find this real quick. I remember it's hard to find. Give me 1 second. So there's this setting. I went into settings, fulfillment by Amazon right here. And what you can do is you can do allow Amazon to buy my products to sell globally. Let's see. There's actually, I think, something else. It'd probably take me a little bit to, oh, here. Export settings, FBA export from Amazon.com. That's enabled. So if that's enabled, then customers are allowed to purchase your product from other countries, and Amazon will ship it to them, and they like pay the shipping for it. So they won't be able to take advantage of like Prime if they're in Canada and you're selling the goods in the US, but they can pay the higher shipping rates. I'm not sure what they are. Max said, if I found a supplier for my product and at the same time I found a supplier selling the same product on Amazon by itself, should I look for another supplier? No, not necessarily. I would still be open to using them. Max asks, can I install and use Facebook Pixel to the Amazon attribution service in order to generate look-alike audiences? No. They don't allow you to install pixels for that. It's just like link click tracking, unfortunately. Like if you're kind of technical, there's probably something you could do where you send the traffic to a page, it loads the page, it cookies them, and then it automatically redirects them to Amazon. But that's getting a little bit more complicated. And I think Facebook ads doesn't like that. Rob said, when do you stop using the launch strategies? Rob, I stopped using the launch strategies once I either A, are getting the amount of daily reviews or daily sales that I want. My goal is usually 10 per day. Or 2, I have like 20 plus reviews. At that number, it's like you have great social proof. Douglas posted a nice video from replying to Susan's question about negotiating. Max, so what's the best resource to stay up to date with all the Amazon policy and tool updates and releases? The Amazon Seller Central forums are actually pretty decent for that. So Amazon Seller Forums, this is like the official Amazon Seller Central forums. They announce all of like the policy changes and things like that here. There's also a lot of other sellers talking about it, so that's one good resource. For like big changes, they will display it right here in the news. So here's all of the kind of like bigger news. So you kind of see it right there at the top of your Seller Central account. And yeah, those are probably 2 good options for you. Rob said, what's your thought process during Q4? Are you running the deals and coupons? I treat Q4 just like I treat the rest of the year when I'm not launching, like when I'm not kind of in the launch phase of a product. And yeah, the only thing is you just have to adjust your inventory accordingly. Jacoba said, hey Greg, created 6 listings of one brand for similar products. This is probably not the best approach. From what I learned on the product launch videos, it seems like each listing will have to be launched separately in order to save costs. 1, will you recommend that I launch one listing at a time over a longer duration? 2, the listings are from the same brand. What are the chances customers search the brand name for additional products once they view one? 3, do you have additional recommendations for me? I guess my clarifying question for you is like, are these variations of the same product? Are these like very distinct different products? Because if they're variations, you can combine the listings and you can see the different variations on the listing. If they're not, you do have to launch all of them separately. The chances of customers searching for your brand when it's brand new is very low, I'd say. And yeah. Daniel said, can I come back to the bootcamp page and watch videos again later for my reference? If not, yes, you can come back and watch the videos for reference. I think on the sales page, we said they'll be up for a year, but realistically, they'll probably be up for a few years. Rob said, will we be learning how to run Facebook and Instagram ads? No, that's not part of this bootcamp. I personally have never had success running Facebook or Instagram ads for my Amazon products. I've run plenty of Facebook and Instagram ads in the past, but never have I been able to make them profitable or even close to profitable for my Amazon products. So I don't really like believe in that strategy. So we won't be going over it in the bootcamp. Do you recommend a supplier who has a lot of shipments in total, but not from recent months? Hallie, the supplier is probably okay. Sometimes what happens is if the name of the supplier is a little bit different, so like there's a space in between or there's an S at the end or whatever else, it counts them as two different suppliers. So sometimes what happens when you see that is like you're looking at that supplier, but it's actually somewhere else in there and it just has like LTD after the name or there's no space in there, like whatever else. It's kind of hard to match up those different ones. So I would also look for that. What about creating our own website? Rob asked. I think it's something that you can do, and like if you choose to continue to grow this brand over time, it's probably something that will be good for you to do. But I'll also say, especially in the early days, it's a fairly low impact activity, and like time's probably better spent just launching more products to get started. And then like maybe after you have a suite of products or a brand, that's when you can think a little bit more about it. But I think it is beneficial going ahead and registering the domain name so that it's available. Max said, hey Greg, I sent you a screenshot of the Chrome extension. Can you please go over the numbers? Yep. All right, so the screenshot that I'm looking at here, average price $40, average reviews 38, opportunity scores a 6, and it has the sales are between like 400 and 1100 per month. Wow, there's a few listings without many reviews, 4 reviews, 0 reviews, 8 reviews. So like at first glance, just looking at the numbers, Max, I would say like this looks like a pretty good opportunity. Of course, like I don't actually know what the product is or see if there's any other red flags or whatever else, but like purely based off the numbers, it looks like something that I would pursue if I was you. Rob said, I'm excited to learn about PPC. Would you say this is a difficult module to learn? I don't think so. I spent a lot of time on the PPC module just to make sure that it was very clearly outlined and put into different lessons that are easy to digest. And I tried to be like really careful that I explain it very just clearly and concisely. And as a result, I think it's going to be pretty easy to digest, even though a lot of the material on the internet's pretty just kind of hard to follow. I said, I checked Canada's market and the number of sales are very low. Do you recommend it at all? Yeah, I think it's still fine to sell in the Canada market. You'll have to sell items that are much more popular than what you probably would on the US market, because you have to think like, there's only 10% of the population in Canada is what there is in the US. But yeah, it's still fine. There's still opportunities there. Jacob said, hey Greg, how can I verify that I'm making the correct price for my product? Honestly, what it comes down to is you just need to choose a price that's like fairly similar to your competitors. And then after you're selling it, you can test higher prices or lower prices and see how that affects your sales. So like, don't sweat it. You can change it as much as you want. Vincent said, in Seller Central under the Film by Amazon settings, are there any specific settings that you recommend enabling or disabling? Good question. Honestly, I think by default, it's pretty good. Let me look. I mean, I can share my screen real quick. We can look at my settings. Feel free to rewatch this or take screen grabs or whatever. trying to think if there's anything in here that I should change or recommend. Yeah, I mean, I think probably the biggest thing is if this is not enabled by default, which I think it is, I'd probably go ahead and enable it. That's the only one that I have a strong preference on. All right, Rob sent me a Facebook message with product ideas. Man, some of these, for whatever reason, just don't come through. Same thing happens every week. Okay, Rob, I just got it. All right, look at a few of these. Let you guys know what I think about them. Bunch of them. So the first one's a, let's call it a type of sign. Price is between 25 and $100. Monthly sales are pretty strong. Most people are selling a few hundred up to 900. And yeah, there's not really that many reviews. Overall, I think that one looks pretty solid, Rob. This other one is a type of, I don't know what to call it. Well, keeping it anonymous. It's the type of something. It's very unbreakable, which is nice. Maybe it's a wall treatment. I think that works. Let's see. For this one, price differs a lot. I think it depends on how many are kind of like in the pack. This one, you know, like not as many sales and a lot more reviews. So I probably preferred the first one over this one. And then we'll do the last one. This one's in the pet category. And I'll just load the extension while I answer another question. Hey, Hallie, just send me a Facebook direct message right now, and I'll just help you out right here on there. All right, and the last one that you sent over to me, Rob, some of these are selling very well. So yeah, like this one, like good price point. A lot of sales, but I'd say this one's like the most competitive. So like out of those three, the first one was my favorite. Max, I think everyone in the group would appreciate if you could hold one extra live session. Yeah, I'll try my best, Max. Like like I said, like I'll still be around to help you guys, and Rolando's around to help too, and a couple other people at Jungle Scout. Daniel said, I'm planning to sell a packaged product like stainless fork and spoon with a small bag to carry. If this is the case, should I sell separately or packaged together because two different factories, two manufacturers can package surfaces well? Daniel, I would strongly recommend that you have one of the factories do kind of like the assembly for you. So it's like, you know, whoever makes the bags, ask them to coordinate with the fork and spoon factory, get it and put it in the bags for you, or opposite. I've tried to do what you're describing, where like you find someone to package these together, and it's just a logistic nightmare. Like they'll probably do it. Just talk to both of those factories, find one that will, package it for you, and yeah, that's the way to go. Jacob said, Greg, let's say I follow the product launch process as outlined. I obtain my 30 plus reviews, sales, etc. How will my product rank if I do this consistently for about 2 weeks? How do I then maintain ongoing ranking? It's impossible to know this for sure, unfortunately, which is very frustrating. Like for whatever, in general, you can usually rank about the same spot as other sellers who are selling the same number of units as you. But something that heavily factors into how well you're ranked is the conversion rate of your listing. So if it converts very well, you're going to get ranked really high very easily. Whereas if it converts poorly, Amazon's not going to show that to customers as much. Rob said, how do you deal with bad reviews? There's pretty much nothing you can do, unfortunately. Amazon will not take them down. You can comment on them and try to say like, oh, sorry about that, whatever. You can, something that you can do is you can, if the reviewer showed their name on their profile, you can try to search for that name in your orders and you could message that buyer, but do not ask them to change the review. Amazon's very strict about that policy. What you can do is you could just message them and say like, I'm really sorry you had a poor experience. Like, is there anything I could do to help? I'm more than happy to give you a replacement or a refund. And you can just be like overly nice. And as a result, sometimes buyers will change their reviews, but whatever you do, do not ask them to change the review if you even can find out who it is. Max says, should I check my product ideas only against the main keyword from Keyword Scout, or is it okay for the second keyword or third if they still have high volume? For example, first one's high demand, high competition, but the second one's high demand, low competition. It's okay for the second or third is the short answer there. Oh, cool. I didn't see Peter say this, but he went on a tour. That's awesome. For Manuel said, how can I be free from the taxes? Amazon, like in this scenario, automatically collects and remits that tax for you, so it's not a big deal. And oh, this is, looks like it may be an FBM. But anyway, and there's no way you can kind of opt out of that. Like in another year or so, that's just gonna be the case in every state. Right now, it's only like half of them. Actually, if you go into Seller Central and you go to tax settings, you can see all of the, like you can go in here, but it's like Amazon manages sales and use tax, Amazon. So like you can't change any of those, and it's almost all the states now. Besides that, it's up to you, but yeah, like you can see which states are left. There's not many anymore. You can select the state and you can tell them what to tax at, and then it's up to you to remit that. All right, let's read some more questions from the chat box. Max said, reviews, you cannot do anything even if they complain about delivery. Not really. If they leave seller feedback about the delivery times when it was up to FBA, Amazon will delete those. Or like they cross them out, but they leave them on your profile kind of, and they put a little note on there like, we take responsibility for this or whatever. I've never seen them delete a product review due to delivery complaints. You can try, but just know they're really, really strict about reviews. How I say, can I ask my family or friends to buy my products from Amazon? Yeah, you can definitely ask them. If you ask them to leave a review, that would be against Amazon's terms of service. I know a lot of people try to do that, and I mean, it's up to you. You could try if you want, but I do know that Amazon's detection algorithms for who's related to you are very sophisticated, and I'd say there's a fairly low chance of it like sticking. When like that's always kind of been the case, but they've gotten a lot like smarter about it in the past year or two. And there used to be like what I thought was like a rumor going around, like, oh, Amazon knows who your Facebook friends are, and like they know all this other stuff. I'm like, no, they don't. Come on, that's such like an old wives' tale. And then when the Cambridge Analytica stuff came out about Facebook, they also like exposed all these other privacy areas. And one of it was Facebook was selling to Amazon everyone's friends list. Even if they buy, it's still against the terms of service. Let me look. Since there's not many questions, we can look at this. Let's see. It says that's not allowed. I'm pretty sure something in here about like friends or people you know or something like that. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. Can I write a product review about products I sell? No, you may not write reviews about products you or your competitors sell. You should also ensure that your family members and employees comply with this requirement. So I guess maybe it doesn't technically say friends. I don't know. But like I said, like yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can look it up, but like regardless, I just know from experience and like I've just watched these types of things over the years that like if Amazon senses or detects any bit of like foul play or something that's not quite cool with them, they just delete the reviews. Doesn't necessarily mean you like get your account suspended or something like that, but just like they'll try to post the review and it'll just say like, sorry, it doesn't work, or it'll get posted and the next day it gets taken down type thing. Max says, I sent one more screenshot to you. Can you take a look? Yeah, take a look real quick. All right, so this one, average price, $41. Let me make sure it's the right one. All right, average price, yeah, about $42. Sales are between 400 and 1100. Wait, this is one I looked at earlier, right? Oh, wait. Oh, there's a few in here. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't showing that at first. This other one, average price $20. Wow, a lot of sales. A lot of people are doing thousands of sales per month, but it's also very competitive. So Max, the one that's $20, I think that one's too competitive. Oh yeah, this one you just sent the. So out of those two, I would go with the one with the average price is $41 if it was me personally. I mean, I only know a limited amount of information about the product, but just based off the numbers. Susan says, you mentioned last week if a customer orders an FBM item that is bundled as a seller would ship both FBA items of the items together. Can you describe this process in more detail? When would you do this? This is like a kind of a complicated and a little bit of a hacky thing. Like, give me 1 second. So how this works is, say for instance, I want to do this with this product right here, these marshmallow sticks. I can do create fulfillment. Let me show it to you a little bit higher. I'll try to stock. Still can't quite see it. Anyway, in this dropdown right here, one of the options is create fulfillment order. And if I click that, I'm taken to this page right here. And here I can send this product to someone who didn't purchase it through Amazon. So I'm using Amazon as my fulfillment, like my 3PL, to fulfill these products for me. All right. So as you can imagine, you could, so like I can send this to someone right now. Like if someone bought my marshmallow sticks on my Instagram store and they sent me the money over PayPal or Venmo, I could just send them 1 unit from Amazon. So the same thing's kind of true with the FBM. If someone places an order from me for FBM and it's like a bundle and it's like 2 items together, I could just do essentially two different fulfillment orders. I mean, it's really just 1 fulfillment order, because I can search right here. And I could add another one. So I could say like, that's selected. So now let me move this a little bit. So as you can see now, like I could put someone's name in here or whatever, and then I could continue and place this order and it would send them 1 of my marshmallow sticks and 1 of my baby towels. So when I got the order, so we'll go into manage orders. I don't do any FBM, but if I did, they would be in here, view seller fulfilled orders. So I would get an order that's trying to order a bundle, and then I would go in and I would create that fulfillment order and send them 2 units from Amazon. So that's essentially how it works. I said, I'm thinking to launch a product that I can sell to my girlfriends and my colleagues. So how am I going to have my first few customers? I mean, it's perfectly fine to sell the goods to them. All I'm saying is, if they leave a review, it might not stick. That's all. Yeah, Douglas said, I've been told by experienced people, don't try to use friends and family reviews in your launch. If they come later, kind of like organic sales, it's much less chance of being suppressed. Jacobus, what's the cost of using the JS coupon program? It's free for you guys since you have Jungle Scout. You just, this is how it works. Oops. You go into launch, you click on promotions. You list the promotions right here. And then when you do that, they show up on this website right here. And this is where like bargain hunters are asking for coupons at. So for all of you guys, Freedom Builder Bootcamp members, it's free to use. It's part of the program. All right. How do you link your Amazon account to Jungle Scout? Let me show that to you real quick. You go into settings, you click on Amazon settings, add new, and then it walks you through right here. So one more time, I hover over here top right, settings, Amazon settings, add new, and then I add my marketplace right there. All right. I had Manzura asked if I could look at their product in my DMs. Takes me forever to get these for whatever reason. Manzura, I'm not showing them. I'm not seeing it show up in there yet. Try to answer one or two more questions and then check it out. Oh, we don't have any more questions. Well, Manzura, I might have to do yours next week because it's not showing up for me. Oh, there it is. All right. So he sent me over a product that I'm searching for now. It's what do we call this? Maybe health and wellness type product. Good price points between like 20 and 60 bucks. Average is about $40. Some of the sellers have a ton of reviews, thousands, but then there's some other people, like this one person, they only have 26 reviews and they're selling quite well. Another person, 50 reviews and they're selling 400 units a month. So as far as like the demand looks, it looks fine. Or the demand looks solid. Competition, as far as like number of reviews, doesn't look that bad. One concern I would have with this one though is like when I scroll down the page, I think you're gonna have a hard time differentiating your product because like I look at these and they all kind of look the same. So my guess is there's probably not very good margins for this product and it's gonna be hard to differentiate. Cool. Well, we are out of time for today then. You guys are already saying bye to me, so I guess you want me to go. We will be back on, let's see, next week. Instead of doing the Q&A on Tuesday, we're doing it on Wednesday. I'm gonna be on airplane during this time next Tuesday, so it's gonna be rescheduled to Wednesday. We'll make the event in the group, and I look forward to chatting with all of you next week. Bye-bye.